Now it's time to discover what the wealthy know, what the rich teach their children that the poor or middle class don't. Let's first begin by discussing the wealth principle of being rich. You see, the definition of rich is when your passive income is greater than your living expenses. And passive income can be described as the income that you receive from not working your job, like residual income. See, when the income that you receive from not working your job is more than it costs you to live, you really are rich. So let's examine the structure of every job. You see, every job is structured this way. At the top, you always have an owner or a CEO who makes more money than the president, who always makes more money than the vice president, who always makes more money than the middle managers and supervisors. And in that big area there, the people that do all the work, those are the employees or the staff, and oftentimes they feel like slaves. Really, folks, they're slaves to a clock. See, they have a certain time they come in, a certain time they get off, a certain time they go to lunch, a certain time they better be back. And they're going to do this for 20 to 40 years. Then that special day comes and they get to retire with half the income they were earning in the first place. Well, think about this. This is the structure that most people are living their lives with. Well, folks, think about this. When you start a job, typically you start at the bottom, working your way up. You're coming in early, staying late, shooting for that big promotion, working your way all the way up to the middle. See, rarely have I heard the story of the employee that started at the bottom and worked their way all the way up to being the CEO. Well, let me ask you, given the choice between the bottom, the middle, or the top, which one would you rather be? Which one do you think makes the most money? Obviously, it's the CEO that makes the most money because that CEO gets paid off of other people's efforts. You see, the CEO is the only one in this structure that has leverage. See, this CEO gets paid off of the production of every other employee. Folks, that's the definition of leverage, working less while earning more. So let's examine the income structure for every situation that seems to fall in four separate categories that we call the cash flow quadrant. The first category we're going to talk about is the E quadrant. This means you're an employee. Someone employs you. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, your income is automatically limited because it takes you to earn the income. You see, there's only one of you and there's only 24 hours in a day, so automatically your income is limited. Then you have the S quadrant. These are your specialists, your lawyers, doctors, electricians, plumbers. Typically, they make more than the average employee, but their income depends on them doing the work. You see, if a lawyer's not practicing law, if a doctor's not doctoring, if a plumber's not plumbing, they're not earning any income. They typically complain about how much they work, even though they earn more than the average employee. Still, only one of them and only 24 hours in a day. Then you have the richest quadrant in the world. This is the B quadrant, the big business quadrant. The reason this is the richest quadrant in the world is these people get paid off of other people's effort. This is the quadrant that Oprah Winfrey's in. Donald Trump is in there. Bill Gates is in there. The richest quadrant in the world is the B quadrant, the big business quadrant. Then you have the I quadrant. I stands for investor. Well, what works for investors? Money. Typically, if you don't have any money, you can't be a very good investor. All we want to show you folks is how you can go from the E quadrant to the B quadrant, perhaps the S quadrant to the B quadrant, which is the richest quadrant in the world, how you can do it all for the price of a cell phone. And then that quadrant leads to the I quadrant. Folks, what we want to do is look at a study of 100 people ranging from ages 20 to 65, 45 years in the working environment. Look at that. The top 5% stand alone. They're rich and financially independent because they own their own business. The bottom 95 had one thing in common. They had a job. Folks, our choices determine our opportunities. Do you want to live or survive? You want to retire sooner or later? You want to live comfortable or uncomfortable? See, no more starting at the bottom and working your way to the top. Why not just start at the top? Be your own CEO that comes with leverage, folks. And remember, leverage is working less while earning more. John D. Rockefeller, multimillionaire, said, I would rather earn 1% of 100 other people's efforts than 100% of my own. Let's examine how most employees get paid. You see, the average employee works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, which comes to 40 hours a week, $160 a month, and $1920 a year. Let's compare that if that same employee earned leverage off of 10 other people working the same amount. You go from earning off of 40 hours a week to earning off of 400 hours a week. But let's look at those same 10 people, built a team of 10 people, and compare what the average person working only earning income off their own production, getting paid off of the production of 100 people working only 1 hour per day. Now you can clearly see how some people get paid more per month than others earn all year. Folks, it all has to do with leverage. Let's suppose your boss came to you and said, we have a new way of doing things around here. We want to raise the company's profitability, cut costs, and pay our employees more. We no longer want you to show up here at work. You can do all your work from home and we'll send your checks to your house. We're so positive that this will help the company that we would also like for you to find other people that want to work from home, and we'll pay you some of what we're paying them for finding them. Folks, this is going to give you true leverage. But let's take it a step further. Say there was no boss, that you were the boss. Folks, that's what we're talking about. Earning a serious income from word of mouth advertising. Network marketing has proven itself to be a viable and rewarding source of income, says all these millionaires and billionaires. So now that you have discovered what the wealthy know, now you understand that the harvest is plenty.